I'm Key, a credit card, points and miles enthusiast and travel lover. On my channel, I discuss the mistakes I've made, my future travel goals, and overall credit journey since 2016. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I've done videos on what to do after getting an American Express, Chase, Citi, Wells Fargo, and US Bank credit cards. Navy Federal, it's time you're on the chopping block. I recently acquired the Navy Federal Flagship Visa Signature Credit Card, aka the Amazon Prime card by Navy Federal. Now, I don't think I've gotten this before, but they actually sent me over a checklist of things to do after I got my card in the mail, which I thought was pretty cool. So today we're going to review that checklist to see what they may have missed, but also maybe we're giving some credit where it's due because like I said, all those other banks that I've done videos on and I have relationships with, I don't recall getting a checklist of things to do after getting approved for those cards. So let's dive right in. I'm going to start sharing my screen. First and foremost, the thing that they have on their checklist here is activate your credit card. All right. While I think that's definitely one of the first things you should do, even before getting your credit card, I recommend you do something else. So I have already talked about in a previous video, I'll link it above on my full 6 to 7 step checklist of what to do. But something that they missed here is that you should be freezing and unfreezing your credit reports regularly. So here's what I mean. When I went to apply for this flagship rewards credit card, I had to unfreeze my credit report. Navy Federal pulls TransUnion. So that's the credit report I would have unfrozen. As soon as I got my approval email or on notification on the screen, I should have gone back into TransUnion and frozen my credit profile. So that way there's no chance for unauthorized credit applications and things like that to occur. So I think that should be step 1 in this checklist. But step 2, I agree, activate the credit card. Next up, update your contact info. I guess, yeah, if you don't already have a relationship with Navy Federal, then absolutely. You should create a profile, username, password to gain access into that. I'll allow it. I'll allow it on this one. All right, let's see what number 3 is. Set up a monthly flagship card payment transfer. Okay, I like that. This is something that I definitely have on my checklist. I always recommend setting up automatic transfers to pay off the statement balance at the due date. So what does it say here? It says at least the minimum due. So here's where I differ. I like the full statement balance because that way I'm not giving up interest rate or having to pay interest rate to Navy Federal if I only pay the minimum. So my opinion, I partially agree with step 3 here that they've listed on this checklist, but do the full statement balance. Remember, we should only be spending money that we have in a checking account or can afford to pay off at the end of every single month. Okay, so, all right, partially agree. Next up, sign up for transaction notifications. Okay. Yeah, I guess so. I'll sprinkle in mine throughout here. Something I'm not seeing, I probably would have made sure I selected a due date. I think I've mentioned this before, but I like to set up my due dates. I get paid on the 1st and 15th of every month. So I just take all my credit cards. I have close to 100 credit cards at this point. But I just divide that in half. Half of my credit cards get paid on the 2nd of every month, and the other half of credit cards get paid on the 16th. So maybe that's part of setting up your contact info and your payment transfer is also selecting a due date. Oftentimes, a lot of banks will allow you to change the due date. Sometimes you do have to call in for that, but a lot of times you can just do it directly on the website. All right, next up here from Navy Federal is add an authorized user. Earn even more rewards by giving your spouse or family members the ability to make purchases on the account. All right, maybe I'm biased. I'm a single female, so maybe I'm biased. I don't have that many authorized users. Anthony Venture has an authorized user card. Joe Barreto of the Credit Connection has a authorized user credit card on my account, but otherwise, I'm not about giving out authorized user credit cards. For this, I always believe if you go to sign up for a credit card, you should make sure that you can hit the minimum spending requirement on your own, or you have those expenses kind of in mind, right? So I think I've mentioned this before. March, April, May, these are my heavy transaction months because I have home insurance, auto insurance, and all sorts of, I'll say, larger bills like that due. So I always know that I'm getting a large number of credit cards in this period because I can just hit the sign up bonuses pretty quickly. Um, Instead of giving out authorized user credit cards, perhaps you can work with a family member, right? If it's something that they have to pay and they already have the cash for it, have them give you the cash and you use your credit card to make that purchase. But again, maybe it's personal preference. I'm not huge on authorized user credit cards. Next up, preset your flagship card to pay your other monthly bills. Okay. Yeah, I like that. I often will move like my YouTube TV, my cell phone bill. If I still, after I do that large transaction, right, whether it's a homeowner's insurance or something like that, if I still have maybe a couple $100s or something that I need to spend within the next 30 to 90 days, then I'll absolutely move other bills. So, all right, Navy Federal, I'm feeling the checklist here by Navy Fed. Let me jump up to the second column here. Set up card on file. Shop with ease when you store your credit card details with your favorite merchants. All right, yeah, I can get down with this. Here's why. This card comes with a 1 year subscription to Amazon Prime. So I don't like saving my credit cards with different vendors, but Amazon Prime's kind of an exception because I know that I'm going to spend money there. Same with Walmart Plus. I'm going to just spend money with those two vendors. So I save a credit card. With this Navy Federal flagship card, though, I absolutely agree. And I'm not seeing it on the list, but maybe we'll cover it in a minute. Is because they're paying for that Amazon Prime membership, this should be the only and or the default card in your Amazon account. So that way you don't run the risk of maybe your Amazon Prime hits your account in August, right? If you don't have this flagship card as your default, then you're not going to get your Amazon Prime covered. So hit and miss on this one. I'm still vibing with this checklist. Again, not many banks that I'm aware of send out a checklist for you to do because these banks don't have your best interest in mind. Next up, load to your mobile wallet. Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things on my checklist. I think that's number 3 on my checklist, though, is adding to Apple and Samsung wallets as soon as I get a credit card. Again, just trying to help me make sure that I'm going to hit that minimum spending requirement. For this credit card, it was $3,500 in the first 90 days to get that sign up bonus of rewards points. So I've already obtained that, and it's already in my account, which I love to see. But hitting that, put it on your mobile wallet. So anytime you're out spending, even if it's a dollar here, dollar there, those add up pretty quick. Next up, shop member deals. Shop member deals. We're gonna have to dive into that. I'm not sure what that is. I have no idea what that is. Let's dive into that. Shop member deals. Okay, it's like their online portal. Okay. I I don't know if I like this portal, the Navy Federal Credit Union portal here, but I partially agree. If you don't have Ebates, or excuse me, Rakuten.com as your shopping portal, grab my referral link down in the description box. That's my preferred shopping portal. Um, Outside of that, I definitely utilize Built Rewards for my dining programs. And when I have enough Built Rewards points, then I switch over to the JetBlue dining and the JetBlue shopping portal. So, all right, all right, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. I don't think I would use the Navy Federal proprietary bonus portal though. That's not my jam. Take advantage of your sign up offer. Don't forget, if you had a sign up offer, make sure you meet any requirements and pay attention to offer dates. Listen, I like that. I like that. They're like, you got approved for the credit card, use it as much as possible so you get the sign up bonus. And while I definitely agree, it's just funny seeing this in the checklist, but I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of this one. The last thing that they have on this checklist is check your FICO score. Um, I guess so. I'm not sure why you would check your FICO score. Maybe just because it's in the online portal. I'm not sure. But they're going to send you, as part of your approval, they're going to go ahead and send you your credit score, not only with Navy Federal, but what you have with TransUnion as well. When I applied for this Navy Federal card, it says that my Navy Federal credit score is 318, and the high could be 450. I'm newer to Navy Federal, so I'm not sure if that's a great credit score to have with them. But like I said, I got approved for the credit card. I got a pretty big limit. It was well over $10,000 of a credit limit. But on my credit reports in general, right, outside of Navy Federal, I've never had a missed payment. My credit history is, pushing 10, 11 years at this point. And yeah, I like it. They also send out your TransUnion credit score to you in the information packet with your card. So when I applied for this credit card, my TransUnion credit score was 794. Keep in mind that's rather high, right? Total credit score is out of 850 there. But as long as you have good credit, in my opinion, then that's around the, I'll just say 650 mark. I don't think you'll have any difficulties applying and getting approved for credit cards pretty regularly. Just make sure you're setting up those automatic payments, you're not missing a payment, and please try to reduce at all. If you're paying any interest, try to nip that in the bud immediately. Instead, set your payment due date to the full statement balance so you can avoid paying for these, these points and these reward miles. Other things that I have on my personal checklist every time I get a new credit card, and these are major moves right here. Number one, add it to a password manager. I add all of my credit cards to a password manager because I have I've had well over 100 different credit cards. And I just don't have time to keep track of all of those. I'm not putting them in my wallet. You're not going to catch me in the streets with my binders of credit cards. So if there's ever something that I want to buy, maybe it's online or otherwise, right? I'll have my card number because all I need to do is sign into my password manager and I'm good to roll. The next thing is use the credit card. I think all in all, you definitely want to make sure you're hitting that minimum spending requirement, but that was one of the things that they had in their checklist. So I'm pretty impressed. This checklist from Navy Federal checks a lot of boxes, and they don't have to send it. I don't know of any other bank that sends out a checklist of things for you to consider as you're doing it. If I was on the Navy Federal team, though, I would perhaps add in, freeze, unfreeze your credit report. But, they don't probably have a partnership with TransUnion or anything like that. So that's why they're not recommending it. Let me know what's the first thing you do when you get a Navy Federal credit card, but also any other credit card. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you learned something.